Hello and welcome to this climate breakfast organized by Viable Cities and Capacities. My name is Lena Holmberg and I will lead the conversation today with my colleague Sandra Sjö, our excellent tech wizard. The format for this climate breakfast is short, relaxed, and you can eat breakfast in the meantime, just under an hour. And for the first half an hour, we have guests who will give us knowledge and practical inspiration. And then everybody gets an opportunity to reflect on the topic with other participants and the guests, and of course, make new acquaintances. We record the first half hour and for those who cannot make it in real time. We do climate breakfast from time to time on current themes. So feel free to check out our calendar on the web, our newsletter, or our updates on LinkedIn if you want to join another time. Today, we are going to focus on the theme Följeforskning, a new breed of transition research. With 2030 coming up very soon, we don't have that much time for traditional research that takes years to produce your results, and then even longer sometimes to get the results to have some impact. So in Sweden, several researchers have worked closely together with cities and national innovation actors to support them in steering sustainability transitions by contributing to learning from practice, increasing reflexivity, and helping to identify evidence about system change. This role got the name of Följeforskare, which translated into English is somewhere in the neighborhood of following or companion researcher. This kind of research role has sometimes been supported by Swedish funding agencies, and we believe that this model can be applied in other countries as well, which is why we are happy to see so many people from Driving Urban Transitions, Net Zero Cities and Capacities here today. Looking forward to learning more about what you think about Följeforskning. But first, we will meet three researchers who have all done Följeforskning with cities involved in Viable Cities program Climate Neutral Cities 2030 and the program itself. We have Katarina Pervetsa from KTH Royal Institute of Technology. We have Erika Enekvist from the City of Stockholm and Emily Weiss from Lund University. Welcome. Now, you have all done or are doing Följeforskning. So can you give us one example of what you have done so we get a better understanding of what it is? And I'm also curious about how you came about to do Följeforskning, because I know that it is not that common and it's not that easy, I think. So how about you, Katarina? Can you start?
Okay, can do. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. It's a long question. How to keep it short? So I've been a Följeforskare with Viable Cities as a strategic innovation program from 2019, and basically following the program itself. So sort of focusing on cities to some extent, but mostly looking how thinking evolved in the program and the new instruments were developed, and evolution, especially with a focus on portfolio thinking in various instruments. And what I have done, yes, I have done Följeforskning with them. So it was doing a lot of interactions and various forms. Like, for example, we have done some reflexivity sessions. I've been collecting data, but also trying to share insights back to the team. So it was a kind of process, I would say, in which we interacted and tried to build knowledge together.
Very interesting. I think you have also published lots of material on Medium, I think, also. So it's available. So maybe someday, if you have the opportunity to provide some links in the chat also, so we can get there. So yeah. So but then again, how did you came to? I mean, how did you decide that Följeforskning was the thing to do?
Yeah, I think in this case, it was because of the research question or what we wanted to research. We wanted to explore a new phenomenon which was evolving itself, and I kind of quickly figured out that more conventional ways of doing research just would not work, and we need different format, different setup with a team to be able to really get like in-depth insights. And if you look on the more conventional maybe methods of like data collection or interactions with the object of your study, it would not be possible. So I think it was very much inspired by by the need. And I think it worked quite well for the purpose.
Absolutely, yeah. And I can vouch for that, being part of the program management team. So yeah, so thank you. So if we go to Erika, I mean, you started as a practitioner working at a city, and then you became a researcher, and now you have gone back to working at a city again. What is your take on Följeforskning?
Yeah, nice to be here and to join this breakfast. I would say that I was working as a project manager and felt that I just copy paste a lot of others' work and wanted to go a little bit deeper into something and realized that we applied for a project where there was opportunity to do a PhD thesis during that time. So it was a combination of me feeling a bit tired of not having the time to go deep enough, and the opportunity for funding and also collaboration with KTH as a university. So I would say that it was like the background for the research, but going into a more close collaboration with the municipality, because in my case it was following the city of Stockholm and how they developed what we call innovation platforms. So basically, Emily and I was part of the same funding, even though we were following in different cities and a little bit of a different time, but it was the same call. But the idea was to follow very close what was happening on the ground in the municipality. So I was from the beginning working very close with the project team and also like following what was going on, observing. I was doing interviews as well, but I mean, it's a combination of more traditional research methods, but with the opportunity to go quite close to understand what's going on, I would say.
So I'm thinking now that you are working at the city, so obviously they seem to be a good place to be since you sort of moved over to the city of Stockholm. From the city perspective, what do you see as the benefits of working together with a följeforskare? What do they get from participating in these in interviews and workshops and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to have a följeforskare with me right now, I guess. So I need to recruit someone. But I think that the thing with the researcher very close is, like as Katarina was saying as well, creating this space of reflexivity. And I know maybe we will come back to that, but also someone that actually asks these questions about why are you doing this, and have you thought about like power relations when you're doing this? Is it connected to like, I mean, as a practitioner, you're quite busy doing all this everyday work and with lots of meetings and not so much time for thinking of why things are happening, because things are just happening all the time. So I think that the researcher can create this space, but also we sometimes said that the researcher can create some kind of a memory of what's going on, because as a researcher you read a lot of old material, but also lots of materials connected to what's going on, and like asking questions about how does this connect to what was going on back in 2010. And many of those people working in the municipalities, like many people stay within the organization, of course, but they tend to change work. So the researcher can be this kind of memory as well.
And also both memory and kind of storyteller as well, I suppose, because you also repeat and go back and refer to what happened before and so on. So a very interesting role, I would say. Yeah. But so how about you, Emily? You have kind of done följeforskning on different level in different settings. So what is your relationship to följeforskning?
Yeah, I think like Katarina, it's the only thing I've done is being kind of an action-oriented researcher. I got into the field way back in the early 2000s in connection with a program at Vinnova called Vinnova, Regional Innovation Environments. And that program had a particular unique aspect, which was 5% earmarked funding for strategic learning to both follow and support these collaborative initiatives, these Vinnova environments, with a number of functions, two of which were looking at kind of broader aspects of a kind of stakeholder analysis and both within the environment and outside, doing some benchmarking, and another function being their strategic sounding board, and a third being helping them follow their qualitative results. Because a lot of times when you're working with systems change or trying to make the system more effective, these are small movements over long periods of time, and it's kind of difficult to put words to it, and trying to help them document, as Erika was saying, help them document what it is that they were achieving every year over time. So this role of being a strategic sounding board, helping to take this helicopter perspective and document what's going on to help them see themselves what it is that they're achieving over time. That's the role that I interpret as being a följeforskare. So when I became a följeforskare with the innovation platforms, working with Future by Lund in the city of Lund, and now with the system demonstrator instrument, part of Viable Cities, this is the role that I think mostly följeforskare is and does, is both following the initiative, being a sounding board, trying to get knowledge from outside, both empirical cases and drawing from theory, things that can inspire decisions or new ways of acting, and also helping the initiative themselves see and document what it is, or tell a story of the change process that they're contributing to over time.
I'm kind of thinking that what you said in the beginning, to see these small signs, and to how do you actually do that? I mean, that's a very complex pattern recognition mechanism that you need to have as a följeforskare. Then how do you do that?
Okay, so I'm sure there are many methods, as with any kind of följeforskning. Let's say it's an approach to research in interaction. And then there are a number of methods, and we all are using various methods, both interviews and observations. And Vinnova as a program had a particular reporting framework called the layer model, where they documented projects that were done in collaboration, that the initiative themselves kind of can mobilize actors to do. And they also documented key events in the system. And I was part of the team doing a meta följeforskning project to kind of define what is it that we mean by system level effects, and what is it that we mean by key events. And these are documented in annual reports. And so with the initiative, every 6 months at the latest, we take a kind of a session to review, okay, what is it that we've done? What is it that we've posted on LinkedIn and social media, and what projects are underway, and what things have happened in those projects, and accumulate those, group those. So not project by project. So it's different than project reporting. You see them in portfolios or groupings of actions that are taking the system forward. And they're all based on the intention. So the collaborative initiative has an intention of what they're doing together. And ideally, they have some kind of theory of change, what it is that they're trying to achieve. And it's kind of tracking that change and relating it to what it is that they are intending to do, that they've said that they would do. And it's in part an input to a broader monitoring, evaluation, and learning process. This is an input, but it's mainly the user of this information is mainly the initiative themselves to help them understand what it is that they've achieved and maybe what things haven't gone as planned or as thought, and maybe where new directions need to be taken or where things need to be like resourced even more. So to do it in a higher degree. But it's a support to the initiative to both document what they're doing, but also help them in driving the initiative forward.
But I'm also kind of thinking that it should be useful for also the funding agency providing money to the project, a program. I'm thinking, for example, in Sweden, we have this new initiative, Impact Innovation, and so on, which is new to the funding agencies. And I would be surprised if not this kind of information would also provide good support for how to develop the bigger program itself.
Indeed. And that's a lot of the purpose with the Följeforskning for the system demonstrators as a new instrument, as Katarina was saying. And in these kind of new programs or new ways of working, Följeforskning is kind of the best tool or approach, because it's action learning. You're experimenting with things and nobody really knows how it's supposed to go, how it will go. So it's this interactive learning process, and having someone to take this helicopter perspective, because the initiative themselves, as Erika was saying, is they're focused on doing. And so it's helpful perhaps to have someone external to have the role of, okay, I've got the role of helping you reflect and think about and draw in external knowledge and to try to guide this kind of new way of working. And so, yes, indeed, it's helpful, I think, for the funding agencies to gather insights on the instrument or the program as such, to guide their ways of rigging differently how the instrument and how the program should be working.
That leads me to the next question, because within the EU, there is much talk about reflexive learning in order to reach these structural changes and not only incremental refinement. For example, we have the ongoing project mutual learning exercise on EU mission and so on. So what is this reflexive learning, and why do you think Följeforskning is an important method or approach, and for whom? So who would like to take that to sort of a small question?
I can kick it off, and I'm gonna kick it off by bringing in theory that Matthias Weber and Harald Roarko wrote this seminal article back in 2012 about transformative failures, and four failures and why we're working with transformative innovation policy. And one of the failures was a reflexivity failure. And these situations where we're working with long-term systems change, we need some assistance in navigating through that change, and to be able to continually monitor the steps taken and guide and navigate through that systems change. So it's theoretically, it should be there as a part of these long-term systems change processes. There was no call for Följeforskning, because this is one approach to monitoring and navigating through systems change. And I think for sure these teams, operational teams, and I'm interested to hear from Erika's perspective, it can be something that the team does itself. I think generally speaking, I think teams are focused on the operational challenges and getting things done. They're focused on doing the work, which is the kind of the main responsibility. And like any individual, all of us, we have a tough time just pushing the pause button sometimes and taking a step back and reflecting on what we're doing. Maybe we do this every New Year's Eve, but more often than that, it's not. So it's perhaps helpful to have someone with that role and with that function.
So Erika, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree, but I was thinking, yeah, I was just checking the microphone here, so it's because we are in the same room, me and Emily. But yeah, I agree, and I think, as I said just before, I think that the researcher can be this person that opens up this space of learning and reflection. But I also think that we need to think about learnings on different levels. And I think that we were touching upon it, and Emily was discussing this connected to the funding agencies as well. And I think that we can think about it as individual learnings that we do a lot when we work, and especially when we work in difficult projects, we learn together with our project group. But then we have this thoughts that we will create all this learning, and then all good solutions and innovation that we work on will be implemented in our organization and scaled and create this transformative climate neutrality in our cities. But it's quite difficult to scale and learn a lot of things and implement and change in a project group. So to do that, we need to think about what have we done, what have we learned, who else need to be involved, how can we involve new actors, or how can we involve the top management of our organization, or how can we connect to more ordinary budget structures in the municipality? How can we move from external funding into creating more like ordinary processes? And to do that, it's important to create this space where you think about that, because it will not just happen by itself. And also connecting to the funding agencies, based on the innovation platforms, we could see that the first phase was very much on like environmental technology, and the second phase was very much on opening up the innovation practices in the municipalities, while the third phase, like 8 years later, was about innovation capacity in a number of organizations, and moving over to the system demonstrator call right now, which is very much on learnings and scaling and systemic perspectives. So I would say that it's happened a lot of things in the municipalities, but also at the funding agencies.
So you have these different levels, and also kind of helping them to not only do things, but also think about, are we doing the right things? So, yeah. So Katarina, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think Emily and Erika covered a lot. Maybe what I can add is that, as I already mentioned, many people, I guess, in this event as well. So you are involved in this so-called attempt to transform urban systems, right? Like, or make them transition. And I think it's always, it's a very complex this task to do. And it's always this question, we are doing, of course, a lot, but does it really lead to this kind of changes in systems, right? Like to this transformation. And this can be also one of the functions of Följeforskare, that to help to kind of observe actually how your actions come down on the ground, and do they trigger changes, or maybe they are triggering something undesirable, which you don't plan for, because it's a complex environment. Even if you have like a theory of change, it doesn't necessarily mean that you kind of consider all possible like side effects or unexpected effects. So it's more or less like it becomes a necessity. If you are dealing with this complex environment, you must have some kind of tool to follow up on what is actually happening in response to your action. And this is where Följeforskare also comes very relevant, I think, and can help to spot on. And we also saw, for example, I saw in like viable cities context how those feedback loops which viable cities built with cities, with national agencies, how it led to viable cities to adapt on the way. And we see that it was very evolving program, and they really learned from observing. They saw that, okay, what we've been doing, it was also kind of stages similar as Emily and Erika explained. But they started with funding, for example, more conventional innovation projects, but then they saw that, okay, but it doesn't really lead to like urban transformation. We need something else. And then they moved to totally different way of working, funding municipalities to create innovation teams, to start working on climate city contract, a totally new instrument. And then they were like, okay, but what does this instrument does in municipalities? Again, feedback loop. So I think this is very good illustrative example of how you actually try to be adaptive when you are working in this complex context, and it can also be different uncertainties, factors which you cannot control coming up from external environment, which you can also, if you spot them, you can try to adapt. So I think it's a lot about this adaptability and staying relevant to changing context.
I'm thinking if you were to mention just in one sentence, all three of you, what you see as the biggest challenge with doing Följeforskning connected to projects and programs and so on, what would you pick? What is the biggest challenge?
Okay, I'll go first. I think doing the research as part of the action research, contributing to the knowledge base, because like the operational people, one gets so involved in that, it's difficult to carve out the time to actually contribute back into the research field in an academic way that's accepted by peers in academia.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, I very much agree with Emily. Experiences a lot. Can maybe add another one is because we talked a lot about relationships between Följeforskare and the project team or program or city, and this is actually also a challenge. And to create this format, this form of collaboration, it really takes effort on both sides. Researchers, they need to overcome some biases, especially if they were before maybe involved in the more like theory-driven research, or the different forms of doing research. And then, of course, for practitioners, it's already mentioned, it's like issue of time, and it's unusual to do this kind of reflexivity sessions, or like stepping back from the doing, and it's challenging.
Erika, one final challenge.
Yeah, I think it's important to think about the different perspectives that different researchers come with into the research. So just having one researcher into a project is not always that you have the whole research field connected. And sometimes I think that in a municipality, it can be we have the research on board, and it's not the case. We could see that from where we were 7 different researchers following 6 innovation platforms, and we have we agreed on some parts, but we also had different perspectives. So that's important to think about and spend time.
And also read the anthology. Yes.
Exactly, read the anthology. Always read the research that we are writing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Emily, Erika, Katarina, for these insights regarding Följeforskning. I do hope we will see more of both Följeforskning and your research. So thank you.